Hey everyone,
Hi.
welcome to our One World of Peace Energy Encounter with the Zohar. This week's portion is Ki Tavo, and a lot of interesting things going on in Ki Tavo. There is no Zohar specific to Ki Tavo, so we're going to be in the prologue at verse 208. The article is called the fourth precept of the 14 major precepts that the Zohar illuminates us about in the prologue. And it's the fourth precept, knowing that all is unified. So let's, as we do, begin by inviting in the Kabbalistic lineage of the Rav and Karen and Michael, Rav Ashlag, Rav Brandwein, the Ariya Kodesh, the Ramchal, Rabbi Tafon, Rav Armazulai, Rav Menachem Mendel Betepsk, Rav Kolon and Shapir Piasetzen, the Baal Shem Tov, Rav Shimon Bar Yochai and all the students, Rav Mordechai of Chernobyl, one soul with Yosef Tzadik in Shechem. And as we connect to these verses, of course, we want to connect to the energy of peace, which is definitely needed in the world. We're turning our consciousness to the upper realm, the level of Binah, the realm of fulfillment, of all fulfillment, and channeling from that realm the energy of peace for the world, ending the war in Israel, the safe release of all the hostages being held by Hamas, protection for all those innocents that are in harm's way in a war zone, which it is. Also ending the war between Russia and Ukraine, channeling the energy of healing for everyone we know who needs healing. And let's just take a moment and think about those people that we know need healing. Chana Bat Rivka, Sarah Bat Yehudit, Sarah Bat Malka. Just send energy to those people, energy of healing from those people we know. Also an energy of assistance to those souls that are in the process of transitioning, the first year of transitioning. We want to send an energy of comfort and elevation on that journey. Let's also connect to the energy of protection from evil eye and evil speech, and moving chaos and negativity from our world. Okay, would someone like to volunteer to read English for us today? Thank you, Andrea. Okay, verse 208. Pikuda Rivi'ah Laminda Deke Hu Elokim, Kamadat Omer, Yadata Hayom Hashavota Elababecha, Ki Havaya Hu Elokim, It Klala Shema Delokim, Mishma de Havaya, Laminda Diinun Chad Velate Bahu Proda.
The fourth precept is to know that Hashem is Elohim. As it is written, know this day and consider it in your heart that the Hashem, he is the Elohim. This means that the name Elohim is included in the name of Hashem and acknowledged as one and inseparable.
What's so important about a name?
It's very important.
What's important about a name? I mean, God is God. What do we need all these different names for? And what's important about even knowing God's name? Why can't we just say God? I mean, it seems like it's like kind of hung up about something that's a little detailed.
Is it
Doesn't it?
energy that is carried like on
Totally.
like the name our parents gave us? I mean, it's energy that we carry throughout our life with that name. And if
Yeah.
it doesn't serve
Keep
us,
going.
and if it doesn't serve us, we can change it.
Yes, of
A
course.
lot of people change it in the center.
Yes, that's true. But let's stick with the name that our parents gave us for a second.
Right.
Let's just go with that for a second. We think, I mean, we got so much stuff, all backgrounds, all backwards. We think we were born and our parents gave us a name. You know, sometimes it's named after some other relative, deceased relative. Sometimes it's a live relative in some worlds. Sometimes it's just like a name of a that they like. The parents think that they just, we think that was the name they gave us. That's not true, actually. It's not what happens. Because what we learn on this path is that when parents choose a name, it's one for some, it's the only time, it's one of the times in our life that we actually have divine inspiration, Ruach HaKodesh, that the name that was chosen for us came from Ruach HaKodesh, that they were divinely inspired, meaning they got a message from the upper realm that this is the name. Are they aware that they got that message? No, they're not. That's not the way what messages work. I mean, if you get an email, you know generally where it came from, or a text, or social media or WhatsApp or whatever, you know where that came from. These messages coming from the supernal realm don't come from supernal realm to David. That's not the way they show up. So part of this acknowledgement is understanding we want to know when we're getting messages from the upper realm. It's not clear because it's a non-traditional mode of communication, although it is probably the most traditional mode of communication. Just in our world, we don't assign the appropriate level of significance to what pops into our head. Now, how does that name picked? Well, it's picked it's a reflection of our internal energy. Your name is an extension of your soul. So that's why names are important. Because literally it's an extension of your soul. So the first thing, as we're talking about names here, and this is what is coming up here, to know that Hashem is Elohim, we're using words to describe the creator, that's at one level. At a much more lower level is our name. So if we want to understand the importance of names, let's just start with ours. They're important because they're expressions of our soul. And now we understand how did it become an expression of the soul? Because our parents had divine intervention, divine inspiration. And how did they get that divine inspiration? That's what happens. That's what the Kabbalists explain to us. And so it's important to know that names are important. And it is also important to know that we get divine inspiration, that things pop into our heads that are significance. And we want to acknowledge it when it happens. Because otherwise we create more blockage as opposed to more clarity. So one of the important takeaways right away from this is like gaining clarity of consciousness. Your consciousness is no accident, and the things that pop into your head are no accident. So that's a huge, huge takeaway right away. Now, what's important about the name of the creator? So there's a couple names that are here. We first have the word Elohim, that God who Elohim. So like, what is the difference with the different names? Why is there a thing? Why does the creator have different names? It can't be because, creator can't make his or her mind up about it. It can't be that. So what is it? Well, first of all, it sounds like the Zohar is trying to clear up any potential inconsistencies, like people thinking like, well, I don't know, is that really the creator's name? That Elohim, you might think it's a different entity. Like you could just take it in the pshat, in the very simple reading. It's a know that Hashem is the Elohim. Like both, they're interchangeable. They're different names, they're interchangeable. So just know that there's, it's not a different entity. And we need to address that, but understand that we live in a fragmented world. So part of the study that we're doing right now in the book of Genesis, Breshit, the Zohar for Breshit that we're studying Monday through Thursday, 2:30 to 3 Central Time, is we're talking about the first three verses of the Zohar. It's talking about the first three verses of the Torah, and it's Breshit bara Elokim, in the beginning. Breshit bara Elokim et Shemayim et Haaretz. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth, and there the word for God is Elokim. So you look at this and say, well, just so we know, that's the entity that created the world. It's still God, and that's a very simple reading of this paragraph. On another level, and we pointed out this before, and I can't not point that out again. If you read that verse, if you only read the first three words, Breshit bara Elokim, it sounds like in the beginning, God, Breshit bara Elokim, in the beginning, Elokim was created, which is also true. Breshit bara Elokim, in the beginning was created, this concept of Elokim. And if you read it that way, then this Zohar is even more important, because to say, by the way, I know it says in the beginning Elokim was created, but that's Yud Kei Vav Kei. That's the creator. That's also the creator. Because you might get confused if you just read the first three words. It's like there's another entity out there. There's no other entity, and that goes directly to the title of this, knowing that all is unified. Like the Zohar is going out of its way to let us know it's the same. It's all unified. And we can extrapolate out from that we are all unified. And that when we live in disunity, we're living in body consciousness. It's not where we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be in unity. We're designed to be in unity. We're designed to get there. That's for sure. We will get there. Or rest assured. We're going to get there. The pizza will be delivered. Don't worry. The only question is what's going to happen along that journey, because our free will does play a role in how that journey goes. But we do get unity. We're not experiencing it now, because we look around the world and there's just so much conflict. There's just so much disunity. So the other major takeaway, other than just kind of understanding these concepts in such a very deep way, is like when we struggle with the concept of I'm experiencing disunity, but there is energy of unity, and we're eventually going to be an energy of unity. The big takeaway for that is struggling with this is actually injecting energy of unity into the world. And so that's the important look around the world and look at the conflict. We need more unity in the world, and so we need to be injecting unity into the world, and that's what we're doing with this section. And it's a huge opportunity and merit for us to be able to do that just by opening up our Zohars, whether it's the actual book or we're looking at it, on a device. Right now, we're connecting to those words that connect to the upper realm, that channel supernal energy, and our focus is on unity, and we're channeling the energy of unity in the world. And we don't know what that outcome is going to be. We may not see the effect that this cause will bring about. We may not see it. It doesn't mean it's not happening. We may not merit to see that unity, but it's happening. It is definitely happening. I was having a conversation with someone today who said to me, I appreciate that you, on the one hand, a lot of the work you do involves data, measurable data, which a lot of us do. We have to do work in this world, which is data-based. You said, I also appreciate the fact that a lot of the work that you do, a lot of your personal work involves, the unseen world. I was thinking about that because a lot of what we're doing right now is dealing with the unseen world. I'm telling you that we're channeling energy of unity, but you can't measure that. There's no ruler for that. And it's a funny thing, the more time you spend in thoughts and consciousness of the unseen world, it's like there you feel like there is kind of data though. It's just it can't be measured through the scientific method. So we have to live with that paradox. Because the things that are going on in our conscious mind, I know there was an article that's posted, I haven't had a chance to read it yet. The things that are going on in our conscious mind are not measurable. Consciousness is not measurable. And I don't even know when I'm getting a message from the supernal realm or when I'm getting a message from just the other side, the Satan. It's not easy to know. Some things, though, the more time you think about it, the more um, the more sensitive we become to it. The more we speak our truth, the more we hear the truth behind the words that are said to us. So this concept of Elohim is a little bit different than the concept of the Tetragrammaton. In that, again, everything we perceive a world of fragmentation. So even the light shows up here fragmented. And so we have different names because they express different aspects of the fragmented light that we encounter as fragmented. Although I'm not sure it really is. The light in the crater on a deeper level is not fragmented, but it shows up for us as fragmented. So we need to understand, I see an aspect of a blessing. I need to know that's coming from the creator. So with the Zohar is pointing out, again, for those who are joining late, we're at verse 208 in the prologue. The way that things present to us is fragmented. And an example of that is the way the light of the creator shows up is fragmented, and there's even different names of the creator. So is that a different creator? That's what the Zohar is saying. It's not a different creator. It's the same creator. It doesn't matter that there are different names. It's all coming from the same source. It is all unified. And so it's another major takeaway for us here is that even though we perceive the world as being fragmented, it's not. It's our perception. Now, again, our perception creates our reality, and we have to navigate that reality. But on a much deeper level, everything's connected. Any questions about that? Comments?
Yes.
Good.
So it's not fragmented, it's our perception, because we've made it fragmented, I mean, in our minds. It's really difficult to navigate. It's really difficult to know what is real and what is not real. I mean, it just is. I mean, things come at you, and I know we have to use the tools and we have to do the pause. But it's still really hard.
Yes. Why is it so hard?
Because we make it hard. I mean,
Well, why is there the opportunity
we're
to make
trying
it
to
hard?
correct, because we have to correct, right? Our soul has to go through challenges to correct ourselves.
Yeah, I want to read a message that was posted in my Kabbalah 1 class today. Hopefully I can find it real quick. Here it is. It's an explanation of it's my soul's correction. My correction, the work I'm here to do, has two aspects. The negative attribute that my soul came to the world with that I must recognize and transform. So what you accurately described is it's difficult because we're growing in that. We're trying to grow in that way. We came here to make those corrections. And if it's not difficult, we're not making the corrections. Someone else is doing it for us. We can make it more difficult, or we can make it less difficult. When we embrace the process, we make it easier. When we can't embrace the process or reject it, we make it more difficult. But all those things are going on for us, those challenges, I must recognize those as opportunities to transform. And the second one is the positivity of my soul must share and gifts. The positivity of my soul must share and gifts it must express in this lifetime. So that's the other aspect of our tikkun. We have to manifest the best version of ourselves in this world. We have to share our gifts with the world. That's what we came here to do. And that's not easy either, because we get distracted by the inability to see the unity of all things. The good news is that your soul sees it. The challenge is we don't see our soul. We don't connect to our soul. That's the challenge. And so the big overarching takeaway to all of this is that unity exists, that we are all connected. And that's the great thing about getting together for like Rosh Hashanah and like, for those of us who can make it. So we're going to get Rosh Hashanah. We're going to be doing it all together. We're going to be aligned consciously. It's lahabdil, like it's like, going to a concert. Everyone's there to hear because they like the artist. They're not showing up just to fill seats. And we show up Rosh Hashanah not just to fill seats, not because there's any sense of obligation. We're there for all the same reasons, to make a spiritual connection on one of the most important windows in time of the year. So much of what we're doing is overcoming the illusion of the world that we perceive. Is that helpful on the question you asked? Probably more information.
It is helpful. It is helpful. It's not, I want to get away from saying that it's so hard, because it is getting better and better with being on this path and studying Kabbalah and
Right.
being at the center. It is getting
Right.
better and better, but the better it gets, the harder the challenges are. The stronger the opponent will throw something at me, and it's okay.
It's like if you ever play tennis, like the
Yeah.
better you get, you need to be playing with better competition to really get your game to the next level.
Yeah.
It's really what's going on. It's a great question that you asked, and I'm glad you asked it. I'm sure you can answer the question as well as you asked it.
It's
That's
true.
the thing. No, right. I mean, and because for all of us, if you're here, you are challenged by that. And you're never going to master it. It's just going to come. The pitching comes faster.
So we can never really beat the opponent. Is that correct? I mean, we'll just never beat.
Eventually, we beat the opponent.
Eventually, when we're at the level of.
Yeah, but listen, we win the battles and we win the war, but there's a lot of battles along the way. So you definitely beat the opponent. You've beaten the opponent plenty of times. So, but the opponent's going to come back with a different approach.
Okay.
This time I'm going to try this.
Yeah.
And it's not just arbitrary. I'm going to try this. It's not an arbitrary this. It's uniquely designed for you.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. It's great insight that you asked that question. It's awesome. We realize you didn't ask the question. You were prompted. My screen just is freezing up because I'm traveling and I have a. Hang on a second. All right, let's try and do this because it's not. It's not. Let me expand the screen. 1 second. Okay, we're back. 209. Oh wait, did we finish all the English? We did. Okay, 209. The Hainu Raza Dichtiv Yihi Me'orot Birakia Hashamayim Lahir Al Haaretz. Lemeheve Tren Shmahan Chad. Bala Peruda Kalal Lit Klala Me'orot Chaser. bishma de shamayim. Dinun chad v'leit baho proda. Nahora uchma bin hora chivra leit baho proda v'chol achad. V'dahu anana chivra dimama. V'anana de'eshta b'lelia. Midat yom umidat laila. Ulit takan dabada la'anhara. Kama d'itmar laha'ir al ha'aretz.
And this is the secret of the verse. Let there be luminaries in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth.
Wait a second. What? That's the secret of this verse? What's the relationship between the two names of the creator, or the name of the creator still being that name is part of the creator, and let there be luminaries in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth? Well, does anyone see a connection there? So let's continue. And here's the explanation, hopefully.
Which means that both names, Yud-Ke Vav-Ke and Elohim, should be as one without any separation.
Well, saying should be as one indicates that maybe they're not. No, that's not the way they read it. They are one without separation. So what does it have to do with the stars in the sky? The sun, the moon, and the stars. What does that have to do with it? Because you could look, and people have looked at the stars and thought, and the moon, or they certainly have looked at the moon and the sun and thought that those were actually gods too. They see what they do to the world. It's more powerful. The sun's more powerful than any person here. So that must be a god on its own. No, again, those are channels of the energy of the light of the creator. So that's the thing about it. The names also. The names are also are channels of the energy of the light of the creator. So just like the sun illuminates our world, keeps us warm, keeps the trees growing, plant life growing, keeps the ocean, keeps this whole, everything the word's homeostasis. I hope that's the word, but it keeps everything in balance and healthy. It's not independent from the creator. It's the light of the creator. That is light of the creator showing up here in a fragmented way. Because the stars also bombard our reality with different impacts. And the astrological signs in the sky are also have huge impact on who we are and how our life is rolling out. And again, all light of the creator. Let's continue.
I think I lost my place. Okay.
Thus Marot.
Which means should be thus Marot spelled with Vav, which Malchut is
Spelled without a Vav.
Sorry, without a Vav, which it's hard to read on the phone, which Malchut is called Elohim, should be included within the term heaven, which is Zerin Pin that is called Yud-Ke Vav-Ke, because they are as one and inseparable.
Okay, let's stop there for a second. It's one of those very long sentences. So like Ma'orot is such an interesting word because it means lights.
Oops, sorry. I pressed the thing where he was reading it. Oh my God.
So it's fascinating, right? Because so this word light, well, luminaries. So their bodies. It's not like they're light, but they're light that is manifesting as like a light, as a physical entity that's shining light. Like, what is the sun? It's like a big light bulb, right? But it illuminates. It's a luminary also. And the moon also shines light. Not direct light, not directly its light, it's reflected light. It's the sun's light. But all these things are like, it, again, and Andrea, to your point earlier, it's like, it looks like there's no unity at all. Things are bouncing around, though. That's really what's happening. It's one source of light just bouncing around to different places. Arguably, it's all being powered by electricity. Well, even in our physical world, we have different light. There's one light bulb here, there's another light bulb there. Like, that's not unified. Well, actually, the electricity is all coming from one place. Actually, you're not seeing a light bulb, you're seeing restriction. That's what generates that light. So all these bodies, all these luminaries are restricting, or you wouldn't see the light. And as we had a conversation about the other day, sunlight is passing through space. It's not showing up. There's no heat or light in deep space. It's dark. It needs a vessel, it needs a planet to reflect that light. So again, understanding that is part of the way that we deconstruct this reality to understand the unity of all things. Yeah, it looks fragmented. It's not. You look like you have dozens of light bulbs in your house, but it's actually one source. It's actually unified. It looks like and I've used this metaphor before, I don't know where I got it from. It looks like we're all separate, but we're all like leaves on the same tree of life. We're all drawing our nourishment from the same source, our physical nourishment, our spiritual nourishment. And so a major takeaway from that, especially this time of year, is understanding that if we're all getting it from the same source, that's where our work and our consciousness is directed to when we're looking to manifest more fulfillment in our life, more blessings in our life, remove the blockages that stand in the way. We're all tapping into the same source for that manifestation. So again, it looks fragmented. You have your work, I have my work, you have your friends, I have my friends. Yes, there's overlap and all these things, but it looks like it's, completely disunity. There's no unity. There's separate communities, there are separate, you know, demographics, there's separation by state boundaries, by county boundaries, by national boundaries, by water boundaries. Look at all the fragmentation that's going on. It's an illusion. It is an illusion we have to navigate, but it's an illusion nonetheless. We are in a physical world, and so we have to navigate that fragmentation. But it's still an illusion. And it's important to remember that inside, we're all connected. Our inner energy is all connected. Our consciousness is all connected. I mean, perhaps one of the most powerful things that happens when we sit down and study together, in Zohar together, is we are unifying our consciousness around this energy consciousness. Like we are actually you want to talk about the specialness of studying Zohar together. We're in a realm of united consciousness, of unity of consciousness. I can't help coming back to like what it's like to go to a concert. Like I'm going to a concert this week. It's like three old bands playing. Um, we're all sitting there enjoying the same music. I was at a football game last night in New York, and I was with somebody, a family member, who commented to me, like living out of town, you could travel to an away game, but you're surrounded by the fans of the other team. But when you go you see your team in a home, and this is like, as simple as it gets. When you go to see your team at the home field, you're surrounded by tens of thousands of people who have the same consciousness as you as to why they're there and what their hopeful outcome is. It is a unified consciousness. It's the unity of all things. It's an opportunity around a sports event. All right, so yes, somewhat limited. It's not changing the world necessarily, but we can extrapolate out from that all the ways in which we always need to be working towards a unified consciousness for the world, a unified consciousness of peace, a unified consciousness of healing, a unified consciousness of treating everyone with human decency, a unified consciousness of living in safety and in peace and in good health. Like those are all the things that we are striving to for our world, to inject that energy of consciousness into our world.
Well,
Anyone? Yeah, please go ahead.
sorry. No, it is very interesting how sports does bring in a very strong way a unity of consciousness everywhere, especially in Europe. I mean, those fans are nuts. And so
About their
we're
team,
American oh my,
and they're also nuts about the opposing team, but their nuts in the opposing team is different.
and it's
I mean,
really,
there is conflict, but there's also unity.
yeah,
They're unified against a common opponent.
it's very
That's
interesting.
where the sports thing. But we also are unified against a common opponent. Who's that common opponent? The Satan,
Yeah.
physical consciousness, body consciousness. That is the opponent we seek to overcome. Okay, we're out of time.
Okay.
We're gonna stop there because we're out of time. I know we didn't finish the paragraph, but I think we got plenty in. So thank you all. Love you all. Shabbat shalom. Thanks for joining us.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.